I think it is your turn this time around, James. I'm regretting asking you guys to do the features. Hello, welcome to Films I Should Have Seen, the podcast in which we watch and review films that are either considered popular or highly regarded. As with me, as always, is my co-hosts James.
Hello.
And Sean.
Evening.
And I forgot to introduce myself as Ross.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, Ross.
Hey.
So this time around, we watched, which you may have guessed from that amazingly performed intro, A Christmas Carol. No, we watched Rocky, which I had never seen before.
I'd never seen all the way through now.
And
I have seen. So that, if we don't count the Halloween special, is my 3 times kill streak now. I'm on the run of a life.
Except we do count the Halloween
special. No, we don't,
special,
because it's a special.
That was an episode.
It doesn't count. It's not part of the
happen.
continuity. So I'm on a 3-win streak right here. Thank you.
And when I say I haven't seen it all the way through, the only bit I've seen is Adrian. Anyway.
That's not exactly.
So technically, I haven't seen
just
it.
that one scene. Okay. I've seen like clips from it, but not enough to say I've seen any of
the
film.
iconic clip.
Adrian.
Yeah. So you've seen this before, James?
Yes.
I'm assuming you like this film.
I do like this film.
Okay.
I like a good sport film. I like to obviously stay on the boxing trend. I like $1 Million Baby.
That's a really good film.
It's a really good film. And I do collect my sport films, and this is just one of those, again, as the podcast is titled, more iconic ones.
Yeah. I think this is the sports film.
Yeah.
I think like if you ever mention like a sports film, like this is probably everybody's go-to one. And while it's definitely not the first sport film, being 1976, but I do think it is like is the archetypical like kind of template for a sports film, underdog rising to the challenge, kind of thing. So on your first viewing, Sean, what do you think of Rocky?
It took a long time to get going.
Yeah.
Apart from the final act, which I thought was brilliant, the rest of it, I mean, I got bored of Rocky, I think, after, I don't know, his second scene.
Is this Rocky the film or Rocky the character?
The character. He droned on and on and on and on. And at one point, I was sat there and I felt like the girl who he was walking home when he was giving her life lessons, and I was sat there thinking, will she just turn around and...
Who was that? Who was that?
I don't know. I don't know who she belonged to, or...
No.
But yeah, apart from the final act, I thought the rest of it was just really slow and had no real meaning.
Okay. See, I thought, in a similar like kind of mindset, I thought this was a film very much of two halves. Like, it starts with a scene of him boxing. So I was like, oh, we're getting straight in there. And then for like half the film after that, it seems to kind of forget what the film is.
It was just him wandering around the street.
Yeah, and I think like the setup of Rocky as a character isn't brilliant. He kind of comes off as annoying, and with Adrian, he comes across as a real big creep.
Yeah.
And their relationship seems to go from, right, he's kind of just forcing himself upon her, to she's now madly in love with him. I know that it's the big thing at the end of that, they say, I love you to each other. But yeah, that apartment scene is really kind of predatory. And yeah, it just was like, okay, this is
I'm going to kiss you now, you don't have to kiss me. There's no acceptance. I think the Me Too movement would have been all over that.
Yeah, this... Like, once they're in a relationship, their relationship is quite sweet. But the build up to it, like, she seems really unwilling.
It clearly seems with whatever like in-depth story they was trying to go for in this film, they just like mashed it in there. They were just like, we need to do this, and like you say, it starts with the boxing match, like you say, great. Oh, it's going to start with this story, and it's going to be about him getting ready for the fight with Apollo, which obviously is whatever. But yeah, watching it when I was younger, I liked it, and again, I don't think I'd fully picked up on all the things, but I watched it now, I have the same opinion. It is like, yeah, majority of this film, it's a bit dull, it's dragged out, nothing really happens.
Like, I think,
and then when it gets to the fight, it's like, okay, no, here's the action, here's the good bit.
So even before the fight, like, I very much agree with you. Like, once it starts focusing on like the fight and him getting ready for the fight, that's where I think the film kicks in. I think it does a really good job. And just sticking with the Adrian thing for one moment, there is 2 scenes which I think are out of order.
You have
the scene where he tells her, he's like, no fooling around before the fight. And then the scene afterwards
his coach is telling him...
Yeah, is it Mick?
Yeah, Mick.
Yeah, Mick or Mickey or whatever, telling him not to fool around before a fight. And I'm like, surely those scenes should have been the other way around.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you why that...
No, I just thought that one was a bit...
Yeah.
Odd. Like, because when he says it, when he's saying to her, no fooling around before a fight, you're like, that scene on its own, you're like, okay, whether it's that his decision or like that is like maybe a tradition. I'm not a big like sports person, so I don't know.
Tradition,
but in that scene, you're like, you get it. And then there's the scene of his trainer be like, yeah, you don't fool around before a fight. And it's like it's the first time he's heard it. So I genuinely think those scenes are out of order. Like, I think they were meant to be the other way around. But no, I think once it gets into the training, and it gets into, like, he's got the deal, they've decided this is what they're doing, that's when the film, like, kind of kicks in. But for, like, the first, like, third, I don't think, like, a lot happens. And like I said, I don't think Rocky's a likeable character. Like, he comes across as a creep with Adrian. His job is he is a muscle man for a loan shark.
Which they could have touched on more. They could have had that as more of the story.
Yeah,
it was just little snippets, and then...
And I was expecting there to be some kind of, like, redemption or, like, that to come back in some way. Like, the fact that the loan shark guy... Is he called... I keep wanting to call him Gonzo, but that's a character from the Muppets.
Yeah, but yeah...
The fact that he goes to the fight, I was expecting there to be, like, some, like, kind of shady business in the fight. Like, he pulls him aside and be like, oh, yeah, I've got a lot of money riding on this.
You need to go down in the fifth.
Like that.
No, he's giving him $500 as well.
No, he's just genuinely there to support him, which, cool, I suppose.
I feel very much like, and I haven't seen Creed 1 or 2.
See, I've seen Creed.
You've seen Creed.
Very good.
Yeah. Creed is very much a remake of this film.
That's what I was going to say. I feel if the Rocky script was taken and made now, it would be done a lot better. Like, they would flesh out a lot more things. Like you say, the him whole being a muscle man, the relationship with Adrian, him getting ready for the fact, like, they just do seem to, like, start everything and then just trail off completely into something. And it makes no sense. Like, the scene that sticks out in my head is when they're in Adrian and Paulie, their house, and he comes in drunk, and then it's all of a sudden Adrian has this real powerful moment of her standing up to Paulie, but it's just this one moment, and there's little bits of build up to it, but it just seems to all culminate there.
Yeah, you have your arcs, but
and then the next scene is her sat in the room absolutely fine, even though she was just crying her eyes out, and it's like, what?
Yeah, like there is character arcs between like the dynamics between like Rocky and Paulie and Rocky and Adrian and other one, but all of them seem like they have parts of those stories missing.
Yeah,
like there's the setup of Rocky and Adrian's relationship, albeit it's not great. And then there's the relationship. There doesn't seem like the middle bit of where it is them getting to know each other. Like, it seems like there's that one night, and then they're all of a sudden, like, domesticated couple.
There's no feel of time progressing, is it?
And why she went back out with him again after that one night where he just droned on, going around a skate and...
Basically talking about himself.
Yeah. Like, why did she even want to go again?
No, I'm trying really hard not to do an impression.
Yeah,
I don't want to ruin it.
And then with the bit with Paulie of, like, you get there's the dynamic between Rocky and Paulie's just trying to, like, kind of get Rocky to get him, like, a job or, like, help him out in somewhere. And Paulie's very much, like, in the wrong, but then it seems at the end, then Rocky feels like he owes him something, and then that's why he's got, like, the logo. The meat logo on the back.
Shamrock meat?
Yeah. No, I don't think this is a bad film, and I actually enjoyed it, but I just thought it was off to a rocky start. Sorry, I apologise.
I hate you. Here's a question I've got 2 questions for you two. Does it make you want to watch the others? Do you feel like you want to see
I want to see if it gets better where there's more of the ring action, because we touched on Creed. Creed is more of action. It's based in the gym and him wanting to be a fighter, and it's all that side of it. So there's action throughout, whereas Rocky, it was just, like we say, him walking around. If it had been more with the bodyguard, the debt collector.
Yeah.
It's like, because they make a big deal out of this Del Rio guy, and then nothing really came of it. He never
see
this Del Rio, but you know, he mentions it several times, and then he never goes and collects another debt apart from that first one.
No. See, I do want to see the rest of them, or at least more of them, because, like, I've seen Creed, and I know from and I know from snippets of information I've got about these films over time, like, Rocky and Apollo become really good friends.
Yeah,
so I was expecting more between them in this film.
Apollo's not in it a lot.
Well, no, but you don't even see their first interaction with each other
on the TV. Apart from that,
because that's clearly not the first time they've met. Because that's just like an interview to announce the fight and announce who.
But that's
Rocky
our
is.
first interaction.
But that's the first time you see them two interact with each other. So you don't even see them meet. And it just ends after the fight. Like, I was expecting some kind of scene, like, maybe where it was just kind of like that. What's become like a typical thing now, where it is like the pro, like, maybe Apollo going to Rocky and just being like, that's a good fight, man. And there being like this respect between them.
I think that was the end of the fight, wasn't it, where they were hugging?
I
think that was Creed saying, that's been the best fight in my career.
Yeah, can we keep this conversation going? Because James has his hand up and clearly wants to
say
something.
Go on, James. Spoilers. This is a spoiler bit here.
That's for this film or for future films?
For future films.
Okay.
I don't know when they did Rocky 1 if there was going to be 2, 3 or sequels to it. But that's where 2 literally picks up, is after the fight, all the press rushing to them as they're trying to leave the building.
Oh, so 2 starts...
2 literally picks up from there. So, from what I remember correctly, is 1 is the first fight with Apollo. 2 is the rematch, even though at the end they keep saying there's not going to be a rematch, there's not going to be a rematch. There is. Then 3 is... I'm sure it's Mr. T's character. I can't remember what his name in the film is. And I'm sure it's 4 is Drago, the Russian, because you've got 1 and 2, which is the rematch. Then 3 is where you get the infamous beach montage scene. And I'd say it's in 2 and 3, that's where they really hone in on, right now, people liked that, people liked the fighting, people wasn't really bothered about any kind of plot or background.
So I know there is a third fight between Rocky and
Apollo, I believe that's at the end of 3.
Yeah, and that's the one where you don't see the fight, it just ends on like the shot of them punching each other.
Yeah, it's a free.
Yeah, because they talk about the third fight in Creed. Yeah. Because, spoilers for that, they go on about, there was a third fight, but nobody knows who.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it was like in there, just in a
it's just a private fight between themselves.
Yeah, it's just them two.
Yeah, so I was expecting more between Rocky and Apollo, and you don't really see them interact at all in this. Like, they're interacting during the fight, but there's not really any dialogue between them, and any of the dialogue you can't really understand because they've both got the mouth guards in.
The only thing Rocky anyway.
The only thing you kind of hear from them is there's not going to be a rematch.
Yeah,
which ends up being a lie. But
so my second question for you two is...
I forgot you had more.
Yeah, no, I'm full of questions. Is...
I'd say 2 is full.
The iconic scenes that you know from Rocky, did you think they was in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I always like to hear from people as I'm like, no, they're down the line. The song, Eye of the Tiger, that's from 3.
You say iconic scenes.
Oh, scenes, sorry, like moments then. But,
yeah, so like, the scenes...
him screaming, Adrian, I did it. That's not from 1.
So I don't know, but I've seen...
Surely you've seen the clip of him going, Adrian, I did it!
I don't know. I know I've seen a scene of him screaming Adrian.
Sean has. So
I say with iconic scenes is on the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the punching the meat.
Yeah, but there's one like that. Do you know the beach montage scene I'm on about?
I know the beach montage scene.
That's from... Yeah. So, these things from... I think people, when it gets to the fight, people are like, oh, it's going to be all these bits. Oh, no, it's not.
No.
So... Because I'm sure as well, and again... It's
one of those things with when you have these franchises, to go back to something we did pick up on in the last episode, the Halloween one, of... Jason from Friday the 13th, everyone pictures him as big, muscular guy with the hockey mask. Hockey mask didn't come into it until the third film in the Friday the 13th series. So yeah, no, I get that, yeah.
Yeah. Because again, I've seen 1, 2, 3 and 4. I can't remember if I've seen many others after that. But I'm sure it's a thing in one of them they say something along the lines of, the reason Balboa is a good fighter is because he can take a lot of damage. He can't necessarily dish it out, and he's not necessarily the most technical. It's just he can get hit and hit and hit and hit and hit and hit and go the 15 rounds.
Well, that was what his technique was in this,
but they never said it in as many words. I feel like it is pointed out more in some of the later ones, and I can't remember if it must be either the Mr. T one or the Drago one. It's like, tire him down, you take the hits, tire him down, then you come at him.
Yeah, because I've got it here. It says Sylvester Stallone insisted that the scene where he admits his fears and doubts to Adrian the night before the fight be filmed, even though production was running far behind and the producers wanted to skip it. Stallone had only had 1 take for the scene, despite the fact that he considered it the most important scene in the film, which I agree. I think that scene was the definitive humanizing scene for Rocky as a character, where he just comes in. Is that night before the fight, because it's after he's gone to the arena.
He's woke up, gone to the arena,
comes back, and he's admitting to Adrian that he doesn't think he can beat him. He knows he can't beat him, but he just wants to go the distance because he sees it as it's his moment to make something of himself. Like, he hasn't done anything for him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good moment. And it's something else I wanted to bring up of, one thing I think this film did really well is how reserved it was with the use of a score.
Yeah.
There were so many scenes in this where they just let it be quiet. There wasn't any backing music, there wasn't anything like that. They did just allow it to be, either the silence or just the actors. And I thought it did a good job. When he goes to the arena, it isn't until, he decides to leave that the music kicks in. When he's just stood there in silence, looking at the banners of Creed and of himself and stuff like that. I thought that was so good. There's the bit where he's screaming at Mickey, I can't remember what we said.
In his apartment.
Where he's just screaming at him, there's no dramatic music. They're not trying to play it up. It is just Stallone screaming.
Yeah.
And I thought it did a really good job with that, so I did want to call that out on it.
I agree. I do agree. It was, again, whether that was an intentional thing or budget-wise, but they made it work in their favour.
Yeah.
And it was good. I mean, the boys singing on the street corner in the opening was quite good.
Yeah, that was...
I enjoyed that.
You do that as a kid, Sean, just hang around on the street corners, singing next to a flaming barrel.
We used to rap instead.
Yeah, used to rap.
Yeah.
I can see you
it wasn't a barrel, it was a flaming wheelie bin.
Flaming wheelie bin. Yeah. I think obviously we have to bring up the fact of that this was written by Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I knew he'd done Creed and things, but I didn't know he'd done the first
one. He didn't write Creed. He wrote the script for Creed 2, but as far as I'm aware, he didn't write for Creed.
I remember that he had some major involvement, whether it was filming, writing, or producing it, but I couldn't remember what it was.
No, so he wrote it. I'll just go through this one here. It's quite a long one. After producers Erwin Winkler and Robert Shartoff, became interested in the script. They offered Sylvester Stallone an unprecedented $350,000 for the rights, but he refused to sell unless they agreed to allow him star in the film. This despite the fact that he had only $106 in the bank, no car, and was trying to sell his dog because he couldn't afford to feed it. They agreed, but only on the condition that Stallone continue to work as a writer without a fee, and that he work as an actor for scale. After Winkler and Shartoff purchased the film, they took it to United Artists, who envisioned a budget of $2 million, but that was on the basis of using an established star. They particularly wanted Robert Redford, Ryan O'Neal, Burt Reynolds, or James Caan. United Artists didn't want Stallone to star, and when Winkler and Shartoff told him that the only way they could get him to sell the screenplay was to agree to cast him, United Artists cut the budget to $1 million and had Shartoff and Winkler sign agreements that if the film went over budget, they would be personally liable. The final cost of the film was $1.1 million, and the $0.1 million came after Shartoff and Winkler mortgaged their houses so as to complete the project.
I can see James Caan, actually.
There was a lot riding on this because Stallone insisted on starring in it. And I think anyone who doesn't think that this film single-handedly made Stallone's career is fooling themselves.
Because what else has Stallone done by this? Had he done Cobra and the Rambos? Or were they after?
No. Rocky was
Was that like his
first thing? Okay, I've got his... So this... Rocky wasn't the first thing he wrote. He'd done little bits, two other things. That he'd done a TV series and wrote some additional dialogue for a film. As for starring in stuff, he'd done other stuff, but nothing like major, like little side uncredited roles or side bits on TV series.
There you go.
So this pretty much just put Stallone on.
Bet on yourself and it works.
Yeah. Oh, also, the dog in the film is his dog.
Big dog.
It was a really big dog.
Not sure what breed that is. Big dog.
Big.
Was it Bull Mastiff?
Maybe.
I don't know.
And the monologue with it is Mickey.
Mickey.
The monologue where he's screaming at Mickey was completely improvised on set. So that's pretty, which I'd say one of the most intense scenes in the film. Yeah. That was pretty impressive. I can see why so many people love this movie. And like I say, it has over time become the sports movie. It is the template of what a lot of them. But I think it does have some rough edges.
Yeah. Not issues, but rough edges.
I do think it does kind of just end suddenly.
Yeah.
But I do think that is something that other sports movies have carried on. Like if you've watched, I think it was 2015 it came out, a film called Warrior. Joel Edgerton, Tom Hardy, Nick Nolte. Great film. About two brothers who
were MMA fighters.
Yeah. That does the same thing of like it ends as the fight ends.
As the fight ends.
It's them walking out the ring and that's it. So I do think that's very much kind of... I think like even the main review they used for that was it's all of the Rocky films rolled into one. So yeah, I get why people love this movie. It has some issues and there's some things in there which I just think are plain wrong. I don't know if it's because of the time they were made, but I do think the build up to Rocky and Adrian is really cringy. I think Rocky as a character to begin with isn't likable. He's just kind of annoying.
So do you think they was trying to go for annoying, or do you think they was trying to go for not dumb, but older boxer who's been battered around a bit and is clearly not all there anymore?
Maybe, but I do think they were just trying to go for like kind of lovable everyman.
Right.
Like that's why there's so many shots of him just like walking around the neighborhood and everybody seems to know him and they get along with him. And then you have the scenes where it's him and the young girl and it's like him trying to keep her on the right track, but going a really awkward way about it, saying that you don't want to like get a reputation of the whore, even though I think they say she's 12.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think what they were trying to go for is he's like this lovable every guy who everyone knows, but I think it just kind of comes across as a little bit annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think once the film kicks in, I do think it does a really good job, and it did keep me interested.
Random little shout out. The prosthetics for when there was beat up looked really good.
And a fun fact, I just beat the crap out of Sylvester.
Cool.
In the audition, Carl Weathers did properly just punch Sylvester Stallone in the face, and when they told him to calm down, he said that if he was allowed to audition with the real actor, he'd be able to do a better job. And then they revealed to him that Sylvester Stallone was the real actor, and to which his response was, well, maybe he'll get better. Which I think we could all agree, Stallone isn't the best actor.
No.
Fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, like, he does a decent job, but he's not brilliant. I do think, like, he has got a lot better over his career. Like, I genuinely think, like, in Creed, because obviously he's playing the same character, but he does such a good job in Creed. And a lot of people criticised because he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and Michael B. Jordan wasn't nominated for Best Actor. Nothing against Michael B. Jordan. His performance in that film is brilliant, but I do think the standout performance of that movie is Stallone. And I think this is the character most people associate Stallone with. Like, he has other ones, like Rambo, but I think 9 times out of 10, if you went to someone, name a Stallone character, it'd be Rocky.
So, thumbs up, thumbs down. How many dirtballs?
No, we're not doing it.
6.
Good 6. Good solid 6 dirtballs.
Out of 100. That's a lot of dirtballs. I'd give it a 7.
7 dirtballs.
7 out of 10.
7 dirtballs out of 10.
He'll come round.
Round dirtball, get it, yeah.
That was a stretch. If you were giving me crap for saying that it had a Rocky
around the
style.
table though, didn't it? We're having a ball with this. Do you want to sign it off then, Ross?
Yeah, just because you're going on about dirtballs a lot. Do we have any final thoughts on the movie? Because I don't feel like we've been reaching half an hour.
That's longer than we normally would chit chat.
I shouldn't have said a time thing as well, because once I edit it, it won't be half an hour.
No.
Well.
But I think I would want to watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Creed as well.
Yeah.
I would like to go back and see the rest of these.
Yeah, from what I understand, like, they get to like that weird phase that a lot of franchises do. Like, is it in the third or the fourth one where he gets like a robot?
I think that's the third. Yeah.
He gets like really rich, so they go like, it goes like full on 80s.
Yeah, he has like a big house, a nice car, gets Adrian a really nice like fair coat and everything, and then there's a robot.
Yeah.
Just, because why not?
Because from what I understand, is it in Rocky 4 or Rocky Balboa where his kid's in it? Like, not Stallone's kids, like Rocky as a kid.
I'm sure in one of them he's. I don't know if he has 2. I don't know if he has a boy and a girl or whatever. But I'm sure in one of them is like 3 or 4, something like that. But then maybe in Balboa, that kid is older.
In Balboa, because I'm pretty certain it's the guy who played Peter in Heroes. I could be wrong about that, but because is Adrian in them all the way through?
She's in 2. I'm sure she's in 3. I can't fully remember if she's in 4 or 5. Or is 5 Balboa?
5's Balboa.
5 Balboa. I can't remember if she is all the way into all them all the way up to there.
No. I mean, I know things are coming up. Like, I know Creed spoiler alert, but these films are old. I know Creed gets killed by Ivan Drago.
Ivan Drago kills him in the ring.
Yeah. So that's why, like, because we were doing this month, because either Creed 2's just come out or it's just about to come out. I can't remember what the release date. I think it will be out.
Just out?
Yeah.
I think it's out.
And the plot of that is it's Drago's kid versus, obviously, Adonis Creed.
Yeah. And who plays Drago?
Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren, he's back in Creed 2.
So they're like raising the emotional stakes, because obviously it's him going in to fight the son of the guy who killed his dad.
Yeah.
But so I know that happens. And doesn't Mickey get killed, or doesn't he? Just
again,
does he just die?
Spoilers for if you actually really did want to watch it. I think he has a heart attack and dies. I don't know if that's in the second or third.
See, I did have a brief thing of I'm like, doesn't somebody get killed in an alleyway for backing out on a deal? But then I remembered, no, that's what happens to Matt Murdock's dad in Daredevil.
That is true.
Who's also a boxer. So that's why I was getting
at Fogwell's gym. Oh.
Every time a bell rings, Sendel gets his wings, which sets you up for Christmas.
Yes, the next episode will be our Christmas special episode. Let's hope that bell got actually picked up by the recording.
Are we going to watch Polar Express?
No, not watching Polar Express, but what is it that we're watching?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Was it a Wonderful... I couldn't remember if it was A Wonderful Life or Miracle on 34th Street.
Could I also watch White Christmas?
No.
I like White Christmas.
So we're watching A Wonderful Life, which you have seen, me and James have.
I don't think I have.
No.
Definitely seen White Christmas, definitely seen Miracle 34th Street, definitely seen Jingle All the Way.
Is there a non-black and white version?
Remastered colour.
I was going to say, did they recolour it? Oh, interesting. No, we'll watch the black and white version.
Definitely seen The Santa Claus.
Yes.
Definitely seen The Santa Claus 2.
Yes.
Definitely seen The Santa Claus 3.
No, that's the one with Jack Frost.
Oh, no, let's forget that. Definitely seen Jack Frost.
With Michael Keaton? Yeah. I loved that film when I was younger. I watched that VHS so much.
Long time since I watched it, but I have seen it. Definitely seen Home Alone.
Yeah, I saw a kid today wearing a hoodie which was Home Alone, and the front of it was the wanted poster for the Wet Bandits. Yeah. We're getting off topic.
Yes, we are. So but it's the festive season, everyone.
Not yet, it isn't.
Shut up. I behold to you, you can't see this, a tree
just
of
because
Christmas.
Sean's put his Christmas decorations up early.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's not early.
It's November.
Look, right, it's a month to Christmas Eve. He's well within his range.
Nah.
You have no fight back for that. No comment.
For Christ's sake. Right, Rocky. Nobody's got anything more to say. Oh, it's the first sports film to win an Academy Award for Best Picture.
I know that, and I haven't seen it.
Just to go back to your point earlier, it's the single most expensive cost on the film was the makeup.
Yeah, cool.
It was very convincing.
It did look good,
for 76. I thought it was pretty good, especially when they cut him.
Yeah.
I know Robert De Niro's Raging Bull is up there for some people as one of those pinnacle boxing films. Then I know what you're about to say is yes, them two did do a film a few years ago where it's them two against each other. I don't know if they play Balboa and whatever.
They don't,
but it is two quote unquote old timers having one last boxing match. Yes, that is the thing.
Isn't that the plot of Rocky Balboa as well? That he comes out of retirement.
I think so.
Yeah. But I do remember finding it really funny when they revealed that film and it was Stallone and De Niro. And I was like, so they're doing a Rocky and Raging Bull crossover.
Yeah. But beyond that, I can't think of any other boxing films.
Apart from, like you said, $1 Million Baby, which is...
There is Southpaw.
There is Southpaw.
Jake Gyllenhaal, which from what I hear isn't brilliant.
I thought it was. I thought it was meant to be one of his good roles.
I could be wrong
though.
But I didn't know I had no idea why that was called Southpaw, and didn't know what a Southpaw was until I watched this movie. So that I did learn something today.
You can't put Fight Club in the same bracket.
That's not a boxing film.
I know, but it's fighting. It's similar.
There's fighting in every Marvel film. Would you call them boxing movies?
No. Apart from the scene in Iron Man 2 where Tony Stark is sparring.
What about in the scene in Avengers where Cap's just wailing
away on some bags.
You're going off topic again.
Yeah.
No, we're keeping it on topic with boxing.
If as the person who actually goes through these and edits them, I realise we very rarely stay on topic.
Well, what can I say? These are the outtakes, people. We love a good set of outtakes.
There isn't outtakes, James.
You should do a compilation at the end of the year of outtakes.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The film was shot in 28 days. That's not a long schedule.
28 days later.
No.
No boxing in that. Are we good?
The only film in the series where parts of the fight scenes aren't in slow motion. I am just reading the trivia now. Right, I think that's us done for this episode. So I enjoyed it, and I do actually want to watch the rest of them. Whether or not we'll watch them on this, I don't think we can continue doing series. I think Star Wars is enough for us to do as a continuous.
Last side note, I do remember, like, in Rocky 2, 3, 4, the fight sequences do get a lot better. Like, there was moments in that you could tell they were fake punches.
Yeah, especially a lot of the wide shots you could see.
Yeah, you could see
there was like going nowhere.
Yeah, they do get a lot better at that. A lot better.
I will say though, Carl Weathers and Sylvester Stallone were in brilliant shape for this movie.
Yeah, I bet they had to put a lot of effort into.
Yeah,
be like that.
Obviously, we know Carl Weathers keeps that physique for his epic handshake with Arnie.
Predator.
But yeah.
Excellent.
No, I enjoyed it, and I do actually want to watch it.
Like I said, the thing that not satisfies me the most is that you watched the best, now you want to watch the rest.
Yeah.
You know, like, it, and I would say do it. They are a lovely trilogy. Quadrilogy.
So there's
trilogy.
5 films in the Rocky franchise.
Just
call it an anthology.
Series. Anthology.
Yeah.
In chronological order.
Where do they do?
What are we doing? Why is it?
I don't know. We're just throwing things in there now.
Okay.
Then.
Yeah. So I want to watch them. You want to watch
yes.
them? You have watched them.
I have watched them.
Although it seems unclear whether or not you've actually watched 4 and Balboa.
I've definitely seen 4 because 4's Drago, how do you pronounce it? Ivan.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Balboa, I can't remember.
Right. Okay.
If I have.
I just remember when it came, because Rocky Balboa came out around about the same time they brought John Rambo out. And I thought it was funny because it was 2 Stallone series where they'd had the character's name in it, and then they brought out a new one where it was the character's full name. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little interesting.
Do you want an outro song?
Yeah, why not? We've never done that before.
Almost Heaven.
No.
West Virginia.
So if this is right,
Blue Ridge Mountains. Riding on the river. Life is older than the trees by. Younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country road.